Hello, welcome to the 16th episode of Rainbow Reflections Origins. This series will take a closer look at Rainbow Reflections from its origins to fun facts and trivia. This episode will be looking at the magic system. The magic system was originally a lot more complicated than what it is now. It still was based around the elements, as I've always been attracted to the four elements before I knew Avatar: The Last Airbender even existed. But since Avatar exists and I already knew I'd have martial arts powered magic in the series, I wanted to try something different. I therefore added the elements of wood and metal to include the Chinese elements into the regular four elements. Originally, each element, which includes spirit, fit to each of the 7 chakras. These chakras would be the theme of each book as well as the color scheme, meaning that there was originally going to be 7 books. So what went wrong? Well, I realized that by controlling wood, a person was essentially controlling what's alive, despite none of the other elements controlling something alive. I was trying to figure out why this would be, but in the end, wood magic basically became spirit magic. As for metal, that's technically an extension of earth, and if wood was removed, then I might as well have removed metal as well. I was definitely disappointed I couldn't use these elements, and I tried to incorporate other elements instead. But in the end, I just wasn't able to connect to other elements, always finding fascination with the 4 elements of earth, water, fire, and air. But I still wanted to make my magic system more unique. Torn between use of wands or use of martial arts, I went for both. A majority of people therefore use wands since that's the easy thing, but some people go on to use their whole bodies to power their magic, which makes it stronger. This can be done through martial arts, dancing, and so on. And a few select people can use just their hands or just any kind of small part of their body. This sort of advancement comes from a saying at my martial arts school, basically with making all these big movements in the beginning before making them smaller and more controlled as you become more advanced. I also thought about how people would control magic. In Avatar, you pretty much see them controlling the elements around them and maybe sometimes creating their own. But I wanted to do something that was more structured. So I made it where people could control the elements around them and create their own, which means even earth magicians can create their own element instead of just relying on the environment around them. When people create their own magic, they literally take it from their own bodies. As my friend Chaotic Rebel Dragon said it, which is a quote in the book used with their permission, Earth is the basic molecules that we are made of, besides water of course, the proteins, the fats, the DNA. Water is everywhere. It's in the cytoplasm and outside of the cells. Fire is the ATP, what powers the body to move and perform reactions. You can also see it as the electrical impulses and nerves, which control the body and monitor it. Air is, well, air. You need it for cellular respiration, which is how cells get energy. The body is a perfect combination of the elements. So basically, earth is what makes your body, water is what maintains your body, fire is what controls your body, and air is what gives your body life. So of course an earth magician would suffer more than a fire magician for taking from their own body, so they usually end up using their environment anyway. But a fire magician almost always has to create their own fire instead of rely on the environment around them. Water and air are pretty equal in using their own bodies or using what's around them. Now, as I mentioned, there is spirit magic, but I don't want to get into that in this episode. I will say that I originated from the 4 elements too, since spirit is always like that 5th element that's never really said but always kinda there. It also came about due to my own spiritual interest and spirituality. The type of spirit magic we'll see is basically going to be a combination of manifestation, illusions, and transformation. There's a lot you can do with spirit magic, but it takes a lot of belief and self-confidence. There are also enchanted objects and enchantments. I was hesitant about including these and making the world and magic system even more complicated, but I always saw Zin as having enchanted objects, back when they were a pirate flying through the air on their enchanted ship. I also wanted the enchanted ships and enchantments for protections and whatnot, so I therefore added this magic in. It's mostly powered by potions, but there's a lot more to enchantment magic that will be covered in the later books. Potions and of course magical plants also just had to be included. Potions are an easy way of making enchantments work, and this really can't be a magical tale without potions. These potions aren't created by using strange ingredients like dead animals. No, they're made entirely of magical plants and elemental magic. Again, there's more to potion crafting than might first meet the eye, but that will be covered later. And just like potions, magical plants were a must. Besides, I love plants, and the thought of trees that can walk or bushes that shoot spikes at you just make me so excited. I can create whatever type of plant I want, which can then make potions even stronger. I also decided to use astrology to my advantage. I have a small interest in astrology, and I definitely believe in it to be pretty accurate. I therefore took the sun and moon signs to be the determination of people's elemental magic, so that there's a system in place for which magic someone might have. The sun sign is the person's magic if they're born in the day, and the moon sign is the person's magic if they're born in the night. Of course, there's dawn and dusk or even eclipses that would need to be accounted for, but the person's sun and or moon sign are what determines a person's magic. The magic system is definitely a lot like Wicca or paganism in our world, but it's not meant to be directly reflective of either religion or culture. I will expand upon this more in episode 19, but for now, you can take it to mean that the magic system is basically based off my own connection to the natural world. I hope I've created a unique magic system in the end to make the series stand apart even more from other stories.